Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel here today. Today we're back for more Princess Tutu action, episodes 22 and 23. Our penultimate episode, the one before the finale? Maybe? I don't know. I'll probably do 3 next week if things go my way. It's very exciting. It's exciting stuff. I'm keen to see where this thing ends up, and I'm keen to see us kind of setting up towards bigger things happening. We've done a good job, in my opinion, of splitting up the content from the episodic stuff to the stuff that's going to contribute to the, continuing story. I'm just ready for that continuing story to start taking hold a little bit more, I think. And yeah, with the presence of Fakir and his new ability gaining stuff, we'll talk about it here in a second, from last week, I'm pretty confident that that's going to occur. More important things on the horizon, of course, and the YouTube comments up there ready to go. Only the one here from Pencil Sharp. I believe this is in reference to, what would it have been, episode 20 last week? The first of the two I watched, where there was an early-ish henshin, the transformation sequence, where I'm like, this isn't happening in like the last 5 minutes, this is happening a little bit earlier than that. And again, I guess almost unconsciously now I'm internalizing that as like, oh, something cool is happening, or at least something different. So yeah, shout outs. I guess I'm an official Mahou Shoujo fan, I guess, if I wasn't already. Pencil Sharp here also linking things that Edel said with what the tree is saying. I don't know, we'll let that play out. The beginning of the story, happiness versus glory. Keep an eye on it. I'm not really sure what to make of that, honestly. I read the tree, well, pretty obviously as like the natural order, how things should be. That's what I read into the voice as. Where again, almost the spinners are fighting against what the natural order should be, because the natural order would be whatever it would be without the interference, I guess. So okay, maybe more lore there, and Tree Lady and this kind of cult group people, this group of weirdos that we're going to be diving into here in episode 22. I don't know, food for thought, I guess. I'm, once again, unsure what to make of it. But do you know what I do know what to make of? If that makes any sense? My patrons. A very, very, very big thank you. It's been doing very well. I just want to shout it out again. Thank you very much. You'll notice that I'll kind of refresh the list on a Monday. That's kind of what I've been doing. And yeah, there's some new faces all the time. It's good to see. It's good to see. This is actually a pretty big one. If you want to see the finale, potentially, for Princess Tutu right away, it's up there on Patreon. It's linked in the description below. It'd only be $6 a month. If you're really hankering to see 3 more episodes of the show with me, the world's your oyster. And then, of course, after that, you would get voting privileges, blah, 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 blah. There's heaps of cool stuff. Either way, a very big thank you to Sean, Ace Lightning, AJ, Akomancer, Astagifif, Bernardo Ramahamadama-sama, Botero, Brennan M. Gibbons, Brett Jones, Capella, Chobo Ribby, Copley, Cure Dynamic, Dakota, Dapper Dwarf, Diark Lord, Dorke Hyor, Ed, Eric Algelius, Fancy Question Mark, Fluffy, Fried Rice, Fruit, Gloriana Tenebrae, Glyke, Hans Peter, I. Bailey, Ika, Iria, Yako Yavnen, Jacob R., Jeff Solis, Joran, Kasogtha, Clem, Lexi, Lick H., Lou, Lupe Ferrugia, Maddock the Doppelganger, Matthew Bratcher, Matthew Mortlock, Mickey Babbers, Mirror, Mistake L. Chen, Molly Weinberger, Mr. Maniacs, Nature Without Man, Noah, Pencil Shop 333, Pike, Rex 15M, Runlad BNK, St. Lily, Sal, Sam1373, Samuel Guerrero, SGM Janus, Skeleton, Tentacle Member, Waifu Overdose Without a Net, Binshi, Jummy Boo, Kelvin, BD422, Bryce Peak, Vanessa Gonzalez, and Ren. Very big thank you to all those people for giving me money. I like that. Now, last week on Princess Tutu, we made a discovery. There was finally some forward movement with Fakir, who spent a lot of this core just kind of moping around a little bit, not knowing what to do in the wake of him being abandoned by the story. Now, it was reminded to me, like, Tutu was abandoned by the story. That was kind of her, like, whole thing with the original story before, the whole Drosselmeyer everything happened. Like, she was this character that was in it, but then obviously the story never got finished, and her character's kind of abandoned and dropped very early on, so she can relate to a lot of that stuff too, is my point. When we're relating her and Fakir's plights, that's pretty direct. Anyway, I'm getting off track, because Fakir actually has a secret second purpose, which I'm sure we'll be diving into more about how it all works. He is actually related to Drosselmeyer via a family tree of sorts. I don't know, seems like a great-grandchild maybe. Wait, if he's there, then that means that Drosselmeyer, my man. I don't know what I wanted to do that. That's funny to me. Anyway, he has this power. He can write things and they come true. But he needs to hone it. It needs to be controlled. He's tried to explore this power in the past when he was very young and it didn't go very well. Directly resulting in his parents' death? Yet to be seen. I don't know. He was very young. And yeah, we're going to use that power to help Muto. So if we can bend reality to our will using writing, why not fight fire with fire? It seems the Drosselmeyer's over here doing that with his pen. Why not me with my pen try to do something as well? The pen, of course, being mightier than the sword in Fakir the Knight's case. Echoing myself from last week, ready for Rue to step out a little bit more and get a little bit more, you know, what's the word? Agency about her, I guess. Tutu's still doing her thing, very protagonist-y. Muto turned into a bird. I don't know. I think he's just becoming more and more raven-pilled. It's not good, but it is what it is. And yeah, Uzura is cute. Those are my large-scale takeaways. It's time to just jump in. Episode 22 upcoming. Yeah, it's 22. Yeah, let's do that. Let's jump in. Righty, yeah, there we have it. Episode 22 up there, ready to go. 23 minutes and 56 seconds on this one. Sync up accordingly with your own copy. I have the official version, so if you want that version, you know, sync up with my version, get that version, that kind of thing. Version. And a picture-in-picture version in the description below as well. Let's give this thing a 3, 2, 1. Radio, 3, 2, 1. Go. Princess raised by loving parents. Okay, why would you sneak past the guards if... Lost in the void. I'm not going to fall into the same trap and try to apply it to, you know, big overall characters, our big four. It's probably just an episodic character again. And considering I already know some of the content here, it's going to involve those guys, the cult. Well, actually, there's a lot going on. I was just going to do a Rue thing. She has loving parents, kind of, in their own way. And maybe, again, you're trying to step out from that and you find that there's just kind of an abyss, there's nothing. And then once you've also stepped out from that comfort, you're not welcome back in either. So there's a risk there. You could be left with nothing. Again, just stepping out from the metaphor entirely, the kind of point of that story is, you know, better to be safe than sorry. Better to, you know, take this thing that is, you know, at least a little bit good now, if I could risk losing it all by, you know, pushing too far. What I'm interested in, too, is, like, what exists outside of this town as it pertains to, like, the world or the story and anything else. Because, like, you could see the castle there as kind of, like, the story, too. And it's like, well, what if we try to escape it? Is there even anything else out there? I don't know. There's some interesting questions, too. Touched upon it a little bit during Utena as well. Like, what is leaving the school? What is graduating? What does leaving that town mean, you know? Especially the movie there, too. Anyway, Crown of Stone. And a church. Okay. Yeah. Still just chilling. Honing that power. Indeed. He's pretty cool. We like Fakir. But that's a rock. I don't think she understands. Oh yeah, I loved that scene too. Maybe you could save her. If Fakir's gonna save Muto by himself, somebody needs to save Rue. Oh, what's Uzuru doing? Give me a gif of her on the drum there. I don't think he minds. I think he likes the company. Shady figure in the forest. I don't know. She picked up the pace as, Ahiru picked up the pace too? What are you looking at? Oh, what? Somebody come get her. She's all fucking curled up like an egg. Ooh, the gears. Like that. And I mean, this feels very similar to episode 1, right? At the very least, it's dangerous. I love this. Don't fall now. God, they're kind of just being bros at the moment. Okay, bye. You seem pretty chill there for a moment. Like maybe you didn't want to be Princess Kreia. Just for a little bit. What is happening? Just say you were sick or something. Yeah. The scariest character in gaming. I think you're finally getting married. He's actually spitting. It's good extension on the kind of on point stuff from last week. The metaphor there. There we go. He's always very quick to undercut it. That was cute. See him go Nyenya? Just skip class all over again. Sure. Yeah, thoughts? Well, this is cool. Okay. And she's still right. Technically. Well, of course, we did have scenes with Edel and Rue. This is interesting. The Stoppers of Stories. He's very good at getting little broed in a lot of places. Like, you don't belong here. He thinks he's on the team. Alright, that's kind of creepy. What? The Bookmen. Fakir? Maybe. Whoa. Okay. I don't know what's going to come of that. What an odd pairing. Fakir? Fakir, wake up, buddy. Gonna need you to lock in. There's a bunch of fucking Dark Souls enemies. Ooh, cool. Dare. Oh, it's just at midpoint. Does Drosselmeyer have hands? Yes. Question mark? Bro, you're not fooling anybody. Oh, yeah, of course. And it's gonna change. This is a great moment. Very interesting scene. How many more shards do we have? Can't be many. It's cute. So did anybody help Fakir, or is he just dead? Interesting. I wonder where that goes. With Ortar. We're the friggin' bookmen. see. Correct, yeah. Correct. What is Ahiru doing? Oh, hang on. We're on. What's outside of there? That was cute. What's on the other side of the castle walls, everybody? It's like a friggin' video game. Who's that? Oh, yeah. Seems like she's in. She got past. That's where she failed with, Femio. It's all happening. But how do you get out of bounds? We must perform some kind of glitch. Music's cool. Whoa! It's kind of cool. Whoa! Drosselmeyer? Do you have to? Well, that was cool. I love the kind of out of key piano there. Out of tune. Thank you, my hero. Wow! Sick. That's a thumbnail. What is happening? Whoa! Uh-huh. I think you're about to get murdered. Whoa. Easy. You did it. Oh. Fucking how easy is that? Oh. Yeah. I see. That's a crazy scene. There's so much going on there. Sure. Okay, so you guys are gonna give up? With great power, my friend, comes great responsibility. He's kind of cool. There's so much in this episode, man. You're a weirdo, man. Alright, now what? Okay, yeah, you've been kidnapped, sure. Always loved the gear realm. It's really cool looking too. Love the use of CG there to differentiate. Very, very nice. Oh, that was a crazy episode. That'll be like... That's like crazy discussion time, for sure. Kind of wish that episode just had some breathing room now and I would do it kind of by itself or something. Or it would have been good for the second episode that I would have done in a session maybe. Oh well, didn't fall that way, that's fine. Yeah, the Fakir stuff's fascinating, the Uzura stuff's fascinating, the fucking Bookman stuff's fascinating. Ahiru's kind of fascinating, she's alright. There's a really good Muto scene in there, the Rue stuff's out of this world, good. That Rue shit's so fucking... Anyway, we'll talk about it. It's very good. For me, there's a swing of emotions in that scene that she goes through. Between, like, jubilation to doubt to reconsideration to, like, making the right decision to heroicism. Fantastic. She won. She had the fucking... She had the thing in her hands and she could have held it and she didn't. So pause this shit. I can't even... Look at that. What do you guys even think that is? Where's my thing? There. That's some craziness. I don't really want to think about that anymore. So I won't. and you'll see me in a moment for episode 23. There we have it, folks. Episode 23 up there ready to go. 23 minutes and 56 seconds on this one. Sync up accordingly with your own copy. Again, same old stuff. Picture in the description below. Let's give this thing a 3, 2, 1. Radio, 3, 2, 1, go. Think I know who that's referring to? The Demon King's castle. Interesting. Well, that's all just making a lot of sense. Just depends on who that hero is. You would have to imagine Fakir. Yeah, like, I don't know. Fakir's still a character that Drosselmeyer wrote. He's got you on strings. You're, you know, Marionette or whatever we were saying before. A puppet. Like Edel. But what did Edel do? Edel fought back in her own way as well. And also self-immolated, so... point being, you know, it's almost like classic, like, proto-narrative stuff, like humans rebelling against their creators and whatnot. Drosselmeyer is God and we are just merely humans. And that, you know, to and fro, the struggle there within. I don't know. More Rue. I don't know. Waiter, please bring me more Rue content. I cannot get enough. I simply keep digesting it all. I'm in a bit of a weird mood tonight. I don't know. Tutu gets me acting strange. So again, he has hands, but he also has like sleeves that hang down. So there could be some credence to like cutting the hands or whatever they were saying. It feels like the cards are a bit more on the table now. Like a lot of last episode was just exposition-y stuff. Oh, I didn't notice that. Uzura is in here as well. Marionette. Well, the last time the gears ground to a halt was when Tutu didn't want to be Tutu anymore. Tutu's very important to the story going. Just right, and Drosselmeyer dies. The end. Happily ever after. And I smooch our hero on the lips. I don't like you at all. They're kind of terrifying thoughts. Give me a little bit of Madoka. Yeah, what a fucking idiot. Five. Like the gates. Monogatari? Whoa. How are you supposed to fight against this man? Dear Diary. It's really struggling. I mean, there's a lot of weight to him writing, of course. Oh, I forgot about you. I thought you wanted Muto to do it. I just kind of wanted some confirmation. Well, fuck you. Whoa! I'm not giving my life for you. Alright, that seemed to go pretty poorly. Uzura. Interesting. Of course, the Edel connection, right? What do you think about that? What do you think about the puppets? She's dead? Oh, the animation, man. Yeah. No. I remember. Even that was very well animated too. Yes. You spin that story now. Why has it got like a little failsafe like planned into it? That's great. Why was that funny? Did you escape or did you get your heart eaten or did you see his eyes? Okay. Don't do that. Settle down. That was a really, really cool shot too. Shut your fucking mouth. It's all happening, isn't it? This is a crazy Rue scene again. Maybe I rescind that criticism from last week. Because this is really good. Okay. Indeed, you're still stuck in wires. Uh-huh. It's giving Mad Hatter a little bit. It's so cool, man. What do you want me to do? He thinks he's Batman. Yeah? It's complicated. But I don't... What does that mean? What does that mean? You didn't even know it'll happen? Oh. Yeah, yep, mm-hmm. There's a lot on. Whoa! Yo, he's cool. Oh! Insane. Oh. Sure. I guess you could see that as kind of like the suffix of that word, in a weird way. But yeah, I mean, like, a ton of significance there, everybody. Oh. It is. Uh-huh. How far back? Sure. Whoa! The Force Ghost. Whoa! Goodbye, Edel. Save her. Save us all, Fakir. It's happening. You're not in control anymore. Now what? Oh! Whoa! Shut up. Motherfucker, he turned into a crow. Okay. We need to save her? Save her from the highest peak in the tallest tower? That was amazing. That was incredible. What a ride. I'm so fucked tomorrow. That's crazy. It's all coming together, though. I'll say one thing now. I thought it was very interesting and just very meta overall. Like, it seems that Drosselmeyer wants to keep all these characters in perpetual suffering so that the story can perpetuate as well. Because again, okay, the story that's important seems to be the Crow and the Raven, Prince and the Raven story, I should say. Like, as long as that story keeps moving and things aren't resolved, he's still in control. So it's almost like, okay, keep everybody in perpetual suffering. That's what it feels like to me. Let's give everybody these dilemmas that they're just going to, like, stew on, and it's going to create conflict and stuff. Once again, like, in a story, you want conflict, but the conflict eventually has to be resolved. He doesn't want to rescind control of the story. It's been going for however long. Great episode. Fantastic. Best episode? Maybe? I would need to think about it. I didn't even want to see any of this. This is some craziness. Like, look at this, man. I don't know about all that, man. Just get me out of here. You'll see me tomorrow. I've got my work cut out for me. Oh my god, I do. The show's amazing. You'll see me in a second. And we're back. It's the next day. 2 more episodes of Tutu in the books. They were incredible. I had such a great time last night. It was just great fun. We're really hitting our stride going into the finale. Could not be more jazzed about it. Could not be more happy about the decisions we made and how, I guess, smart they were. Just thoroughly impressed. I plan to get into all of that and more during the runtime of this segment, I guess. Just with the caveat that I'm starting this pretty late. I could maybe even cut this in 2 if I find that I have too much to say and do a little bit more tomorrow. I think that may be a strategy. I don't know, just putting it out there. The best way to make the video happen tonight is to start the video. And we're starting here with pictures at an exhibition once again. Now, this has been mentioned, I believe, twice in the past as our kind of, you know, intertextual piece to go along with the episode. This one here for episode 22. Now, in particular here, it isn't just pictures at an exhibition, it's actually a particular part of it, which is the last part. I'm going to say the Bogota Gate? Bogota Gate. I don't know, something like that. I don't know, you'll sometimes see it translated as the Great Gate of Kiev or the Heroes Gate at Kiev. It's the gates in Kiev, that's what it's based off of. That's all we really need to know there. Now, as always, somebody that is a little bit more versed here could probably speak with a little bit more authority. I'm really just skimming Wikipedia articles to get general ideas going into episodes. I'm not doing deep dive analysis type stuff. So again, why do I think the main reason we've named this episode after this piece is got gates in it and walls, and that's a huge part of like finding that secret and getting to the other side there and finding the wall beyond the wall and whatever else. Really cool concepts, of course. So that's the very literal interpretation, I guess. My thing is like, why go back to pictures at an exhibition once again? Why go back to that kind of well? Just as a reminder, this is music made based on the art of somebody else. Music by Modest Mussorgsky. Sure, nailed it. Based on the architect and painter Victor Hartmann's works after he suddenly passed away. So again, what is Princess Tutu? What is this world we have? It is almost like a posthumous work and a different interpretation of a story that was already out there. Like, this feels like a weird twisted version of The Prince of the Raven, the story there, and other stories have bled out into it, and Drosselmeyer's doing all sorts of crap. It's very cool. It's almost like Drosselmeyer is both Mussorgsky and Hartmann here, if that makes any sense. That's my read on it anyway. I just think, yeah, it's a work about another work. It's very writerly, it's very arty. I feel like it fits with Tutu quite well. Tried to find some more stuff about the gates in particular as well. There was a church above them, and there's various history going on in that part of the world for a very long time. You can kind of see this design a little bit in some of the architecture this episode too. Grasping at straws a little bit, but I think that's most of the reason behind it. The music's good too. I actually really like the piece. I just gave it a little listen. Very kind of almost like major melody sounding, very inspiring, very triumphant. I'll try to shout it out in the episode when I hear it again. And for the second episode here today, another pretty straightforward one in my view. Of course, you could read through all of this and probably find even more, but I think suitably enough, this little summary up here is enough. So again, it's based on Ruslan and Ludmila. Again, nailed it. So this is an epic literary fairy tale consisting of a dedication, 6 cantos, and an epilogue. It tells the story of the abduction of Ludmila, the daughter of Prince Vladimir of the Kievan Rus, sure, by an evil wizard, and an attempt by the brave knight Ruslan to find and rescue her. It's kind of what's happening. We have a princess abducted, well, for lack of a better term, by an evil wizard, Drosselmeyer, and Fakir's trying to find her. It's fair enough. That's a pretty damn straightforward thing. Now, this is also by Alexander Pushkin and is very, very famous in kind of that part of the world, Russia and whatever else. Very Russian bend to both of our kind of pieces here today. So again, if you're European, especially that side of Europe, you're probably a little bit more familiar with the story. But I mean, I think I'm going to end up doing my best work if I just jump in straight away instead of talking in broad strokes. There are particular scenes that I want to break down in some good amount of detail, so let's dive back through. Once upon a time, there was a princess raised by loving parents. One day, the princess snuck past the guard at the gate and slipped out of the castle for the very first time. No matter how far she went outside the castle, there was only an endless forest as black as pitch. Before she knew it, the princess ended up unable to either escape the forest or return to the castle. In that kingdom, the inside of the castle was the entire world. Now, I think this is pretty direct. The castle in this metaphor is the town. Not much exists outside of the town, if anything at all. We've literally seen people spawn at the gate like they're video game characters as opposed to walking through it. It feels like there's some magical spell or magical happenings on, which is isolating this town and keeping it in fucking fantasy land. We are trapped within the story. Drosselmeyer has us all in his grasp. He has done from the very beginning. He had reason to feel very confident and smug whenever he had during the rest of the story. As I talked about during the reaction as well, the general sentiment of this story is to not take for granted what you have. Of course, you have that princess. It's also a little bit horrific. It's not meant to be taken as like a moral truth or anything. It's a little bit cynical. Like, hey, there's nothing for you outside of here. You chose the wrong answer by trying to be curious and look beyond your current world. And because you chose to, I guess, exit safety and go somewhere beyond your current means, you also lost the ability to go back to your current means as well. I don't know, you broke the seal. It can't be unbroken. Now you're out here forever. Feels pretty bad. But what has the show taught us, if not anything, right? We need to break that. We need to escape the fate. Even if it seems that it's fruitless to push outside of the boundaries and leave the town and look for what's beyond it, we need to do so regardless. We need to fight against the game which Drosselmeyer has laid out for us. I don't know, just some early interpretations there of our opening scene. Crown of Stone. I don't really remember what that's about. But we'll keep watching, sure. Starting the episode proper now, Fakir still touching that stone and conversing, you would imagine, honing his power, training, all that other kind of stuff. Gains the admiration of Ahiru here. It's a full-on glaze session. He's overcome his obstacles and become a better person and choosing to embrace all of his power and everything else. And what happens next there? Well, am I doing that? That's what Ahiru starts to think to herself. Am I pushing myself to my limits right now? Am I using everything within my arsenal to make this thing better? And of course it gets her a little bit down in the dumps about things and, you know, helps her to wag class as well. Why not? I think it's time to talk about something which I think is going to be endgame here now. I'm going to lock this in, everybody. I'm seeing all of the signs. Fakir will be the one to save Muto. Ahiru will be the one to save Ru. Huh? If Ru's already halfway on the way to saving herself as well, but, like, that feels correct to me, right? Like, you pair off, it's kind of subversive too, you pair off both the, you know, same-gendered characters with each other a little bit. For me, that just works. I don't know. Maybe I'm going out on a limb there a little bit. Also, just a random note, I like Uzura just here, just commenting along. Like, Ahiru earnestly explains, like, what Fakir is doing with the stone. Like, oh, he's trying to write a story to save his friend. And she's like, oh, like, you don't know what he's talking about. Shut up. She's great. She just wants to be involved. But in this case, Uzura is even smarter than Ahiru, who seems to be forgetting that school's a thing. She kind of got lost in her own thoughts here and started to skip class. Now, one thing I love here, and we keep using it throughout the show, we've probably been using it the entire time, Uzura with the drums, she like picks up the pace as the character picks up pace in front of her or whatever. If she's following along, she'll play the drum faster. If she's following a bit slower, she'll play it a little bit slower. Just great. Look at her, she's favorite character for sure. Well, she's not, but she's great, that's all I want to say. Turns out Ahiru is going to be even more late even again, as we see Ru sitting on top of, I don't know, the Great Gates of Kiev, whatever you want to call it. And of course we have Ahiru the hero. Now, we must remember that not 30 seconds earlier she was concerned about being late for class. It all goes out the window as soon as we see Ru in peril, right? That's my friend, I want to go save her. I don't know, just good protagonist stuff. Like, she didn't even think about it. That's... what a hero. We like that. Obviously, again, like, this is mirroring episode 1. This is mirroring Muto saving the baby bird. This is mirroring Ahiru saving Muto. It's all that kind of stuff, like bringing somebody back from the edge. Of course, I see this as a microcosm of the thing that will happen during the climax. I think Tutu and Ahiru will play a huge role in bringing Ru back and, you know, pushing back the Raven's influence and all that other kind of stuff. Ru here is very quick to disarm it as well. I don't know, you looked like you were pretty down in the dumps, that's all I'm gonna say. I don't know. Normal people don't look like that. You're definitely having a bad time. She tries to play this very nonchalant, because, like, I'm Princess Claire, of course I don't care, of course I'm unfeeling. I've been brought up to be this certain way, don't look at me, that kind of stuff. It also works with the whole Claire thing. Claire, crows are, you know, they belong up on the roof all alone. That's kind of their thing. Like, how dare you show concern about me when this is the place where I'm supposed to be, right? The only reason you would be concerned about, you know, somebody like me being in a place like this is if you still considered me to be a human, right? If you still considered me to be Ru, which of course she does. That's why Ahiru acts this way. It's even beyond that as well. It's less so bird and human. It's more like enemy and friend. You wouldn't show concern about me if you still thought that I was the enemy. You thought I was the antagonist. You wouldn't care if I was up on the roof feeling all terrible about myself. I don't know. What it proves is that Ahiru still really, 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 really loves you. It wants to bring you back. Even to the point of putting herself in discomfort, getting out of her comfort zone and climbing on the roof along with her. And it looks for a moment that she's going to, rescind a little bit. Starts with the Watashi wa and then ends it with I'm Princess Crab, bitch, and then flies away. I don't know, it's early days. She'll come around. Tell you what, next episode, I missed my little dose of Pika and Lily. I'm glad that they were here. Even if it's just the intro for how mad Neko-sensei is going to be when you show up, I like them. We're also extending the metaphor of the on-point class too. On-point has been a thing that the main characters do. It's been designated for people that are important. I'm not important as Ahiru. I don't feel like I have a role there where, a role strong enough to need to dance in that position. But what Neko-sensei says here during his scene basically is like, well, you've eliminated yourself before you've even tried. Right? It's the same thing as before when she's all like, well, Fakir's out here, he's, doing his thing, he's on point all the time. Why can't I do that? Am I doing that? And feeling really down about it. It's basically just a pick-me-up. It's like, hey, go be the hero. You've ruled yourself out before you've even tried, I think this is a really great moment for Neko-sensei overall. Doesn't go the comedic route, the over-the-top angry route, just... I feel like he can read between the lines sometimes on these characters, and when it's actually serious and when it's, time to put on his Neko-sensei persona, or fursona, I don't know. He sees this one as serious. Ahiru wouldn't skip class. That's not the kind of student she is. She would show up and bungle around, but she would try her hardest, and he could see that. He's starting to see her not try, and that's when he gets concerned and when it gets to, serious talk, Ahiru-san, everybody has times when they feel as if they'll never be able to reach their dream, but deciding there is no way you can do something is nothing more than a way of comforting yourself when you lack motivation. Are you sure you're not fooling yourself about how you feel? Love those lines there from Ahiru as well. I became a girl for Muto. I became a, Princess Tutu for Muto, right? I've already changed my fate so many times in getting to this point even, right? And it's all been based on him. Somewhere along the way I decided that I can't do anything else beyond this. Who decided that, Why can't I keep pushing the boundaries? Why can't I keep pushing against the shell of the world, against those walls, and getting to the other side and figuring some stuff out? Why can't I do that? Thank you for your inspiring speech, Neko-sensei. Doesn't stop you from still going to Mary mode by the very end. This is probably where I get a little bit critical. It's kind of just Ahiru running around for a little bit too long gone. Heart shards. When I'm like, she finds eventually, she gets there. It results in things. I feel like it's just a little bit too much of her just being like, oh, I'm popped up on energy. It's time to just start looking around. I don't know. I'd like to think she's a little bit smarter than that. Over with Rue now, and we get an unexpected visit from Uzura. We love to see it. There's some fun connections. Of course, there was those, Edel Rue moments from, earlier in the show. Obviously, you wouldn't imagine Rue's down on all the Uzura lore, so, she's just confused at why this kid is here and why is she hanging out with Ahiru and why does she know my name? All she's doing right now is basically, being a third party to affirm that Ahiru isn't lying. She genuinely is concerned about you. She has been concerned for quite a while. This was a flashback to 4 or 5 episodes ago. This feels like episode 17 maybe. And I do love these touches of just a little bit of that Edel stuff breaking through, a little bit of her influence still playing out here. Uzura's like, wait, I recognize you. I got a feeling about you. I don't know. Somewhere in my deep, deep past, something happened here. Of course, there's the stronger version of this next episode where we literally see the spirit of Edel, I don't know, with Uzura. That's a little bit more direct, but you get little moments like this too. And yeah, she's mostly just cute too. Shout out to Uzura. Okay, now we're over with Ota. So, he goes over to the bookman the stoppers of stories, and basically acts as a bit of exposition for them, just explaining who they are and whatever else. But what he's pissed off at is that Fakir's burst onto the scene, and he's getting all the attention. He's getting all the love there, and he's surpassing all these things that I couldn't surpass. It's like he's the chosen one and I'm the not-so-chosen one. He's a direct descendant. I'm just probably not even a descendant based on what we were looking at last week. I don't know. This scene feels dual-purposed. One, it's to introduce the stoppers. They will come back during the third act of this episode, of course. Now, this guy was definitely in the show before. And I think it is that scene I was thinking about earlier. If somebody can find it for me, that'd be great. Fakir goes to the library and reads some stuff and finds some stuff out. It's very early in the show, I feel. And Edel's there and she's on strings. It's that scene. I think he was there very early. Either way, the other purpose here is the author side, because we must remember author's role here with Rue, right? I don't know. It seems to me that Author comes out of this scene and feels very unloved and feels very unchosen. And of course then sees Rue. Rue's very pretty. She takes a liking to him, or takes a liking to him. It feels legitimate to me that, you know, Author would go down that path. He would be, you know, in that frame of mind, I guess. It could also see a kindred spirit in Rue, right? As somebody else that's trying to fight against their fate and seeing no luck at the moment. You're trying to fight against your fate. You want Fakir's role. You can't have it. Rue wants to... I don't know, Rue wants a lot of things and she's not getting them. Like, you could see, there could be that genuine side to it, I guess, as well. I guess we should also take away from this session, like, its main purpose, its, like, super macro purpose, which is, like, a lot of this shit's been airy-fairy, Drosselmeyer and the state of the world and blah, 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 blah. Now this stuff is a little bit more concrete. Like, we're starting to get, like, okay, no, this is what's happening. This is why the world is the way it is. Why are people animals? And why is there a bunch of, like, stories going on and whatever else? And, you know, the prince and the raven and the everything. Why are all these things occurring? Drosselmeyer, that's why. Of course, we go further down this path a little bit later on with the literal, like, boundaries of the town, as well as, again, the clockwork realm that we spend huge portions of next episode in. I feel like I haven't really been talking about the production of the episode as well, and its direction and all that other kind of stuff. Just top-notch. Especially next episode, just conceptually and execution-wise, and for 2001, I feel like that stuff's really damn good. I just wanted to shout it out because I like this shot. Just, you know, as Author leaves, it's like, oh, here are all these shadowy figures, you know. We were there the entire time, just hiding and manipulating things and whatever else. What they also say here is that they're going to chop the hands off these people, these storytellers. Like people like Fakir, which we see at the end of the episode, like they once did for Drosselmeyer. Now this prompted me to have a look here. See what I mean? He's kind of got hands, obviously. He's holding the teacup and whatever else, but he's also got these, like, draping down. So, like, they could be, like, a metaphor for his missing hands or whatever. Like, his hands were cut off in the physical realm, and now he can just write himself new hands or something, now that he's God, basically. So this whole Rue thing's been off the back of weeks of build-up, basically, as well. She's just a bit fed up with the whole thing, just kind of moping around now, wandering around. What am I doing? Father is seeking heart, and yet I'm doing all this? That doesn't seem right. Leads to Rue hitting rock bottom here, literally, like, lying on the fucking concrete in front of Author before he asks if she's okay, recognizes her from the ballet division, and then she's like, oh, I might be on here, hang on. And yeah, if you're wondering if things are going any better over here, no, not really. We have the Grim Reaper army trapping Fakir. Love, love, love this moment. Okay. So on top of all that, we have Ahiru just jogging around like she does. She sees that, like, raven shadow, and then Muto, who's like, Dare. Very, like, scary, like really living up to that raven persona. And what does Ahiru do when she's nervous? She quacks. When she quacks, she turns into a duck. Perfect excuse for me to hide from the scary ravens and crows and whatever. God, this episode's good. God, this session was good. I love, love, love this scene. So, it just makes perfect sense. What is, like, the one, like, immutable infallible thing about Muto as a character that has persisted from the very beginning when he got thrust into this thing. You know, when he found Fakir and did all that side of the business, right? It's the saving the birds, damn it. He always saves, like, little birds that need help and that kind of thing, right? It's the thing that got him into the mess in the first place. It's the thing that, you know, he did in episode 1, all that other kind of stuff. Like, it's huge for him. And it's hilarious, right? Ahiru tries to play it like nonchalant, like act like an actual duck so that the scary Muto doesn't recognize me or whatever. But all it does is result in the actual Muto coming out. You know, his real personality here breaks through because he's doing this thing that is so natural to him. It gives Ahiru a good chance to look into his eyes as well, and they're clouded, they're full of turmoil and conflict and hate and everything, right? Also, it being like a baby animal also disarms him somewhat as well, which I love. We saw this earlier in the show with Fakir. It allows him like a mirror to bounce ideas back off of, right? Like, he just starts talking to the duck. What am I to do? I love everybody in this world and I want to protect them. Yet I also want to make all the worlds love my own. I wonder which one is the real me. I want people to love me, but is it okay to just be loved? As I've spoken about before, there's such a interesting conversation there for mine. Like, what is love? Is love inherently selfish or selfless, or, you know, what does it mean to be a prince in that regard? What does it mean to be the main character? I'm garnering all this love from all over the world from all these other people. Do I love them back equally? Does that make it love? Does it make it adoration? Does it make it, you know, obligatory? Is it a real emotion? Hugely broad conversations there, obviously. Which again, when an idea gets too big, what do? We come back down to the base of it. It just helps Muto to say what he really wants in all of this, right? Which we know what he really wants. We've known this from the beginning of this core. I want to get all my heart back as soon as possible. And then, of course, before in the story as well, Muto said that he then wants to re-enter the story and do his part. Like, that's his go, I guess. And it's this that Ahiru takes to heart. This is the next step she needs, the next push she needs to find all of these heart shards. If this is Muto, at his purest, at his most vulnerable, still telling me this, then it's something that I have to do. Something that I have to be committed to, you know? So I wonder what this means. He goes like, and after that, and then he scratches his hand. What is he to do after he gets his heart back? Is he like itching to fight? Because he would then be fighting the Raven, no? Once he gets all his heart back to him? Maybe? I don't know. It's like it's still really like erratic from him, I feel. I don't know. Again, he's definitely, I think he turns into a bird by next episode, so again, erratic is the least of his troubles. Okay, and the crazy part about this episode is it just keeps getting like better and better and better. The Orta Rue scenes here are some of my favorite in the show. I think like they're so damn strong. And I'm going to follow Rue through it a lot. I feel like her emotional changes here are fascinating. She starts like very scientifically. She's like, oh, yeah, you have a heart and it's beating really fast. Why? Again, it's this denial. It's this denial that no one will ever love me bar the prince and the raven, which then results in a little bit of surprise. She's like, oh, hang on. Does he like me? And maybe the blush there was a little bit of a tell as well, which then it's like, okay, time to do the plan, right? Okay, I've got a guy. I'm doing the thing. I'm getting a young heart, whatever the raven wanted, right? Come with me. It's time to go. Now, I was critical here, but some of the directions just glorious. Like, the camera swing that way, whatever she's doing there, the camera swing, I don't know. Bit cheesy, but it's a good cut. I like that stuff. Maybe you could argue that this episode's a little busy, it's a little packed in, which again is more to my criticism of, okay, we kind of left Rue a little bit stagnant too long. Maybe you push some of this stuff a little bit early in the story to alleviate with that. Because again, like, we kind of go from, like, Rue there, Ahiru there, over to Fakir very quickly. But I mean, I was in for it. So like, I don't know, it's more in theory than my actual feelings, I guess. The end result there of Fakir, they just gotta take him away. They're gonna chop his hands off. Sure. Ahiru is now at the gate and her fucking necklace starts to resonate. there's a heart shard here. Even though I can't get to the other side of it, it won't open. Really love some of the comedic cuts here too, particularly this one where she gets all wavy. Yeah, great stuff. A little bit of peanuts in there too, maybe. This is when something very intriguing happens. Ahiru runs away from the door to try to find some other way up or something. She doesn't hear the gate swing open or nothing. In fact, it doesn't swing open. And some people, some new like NPCs just kind of spawn in. Very notably as well, as they spawn in, their mother transforms into an Indian rhinoceros. So that's like pretty hard confirmation of a ton of things straight away. 1, the school is isolated. 2, the animal shit is exclusive to this town. And 3, people just spawn in on a whim based on what the big guy upstairs has to say. Like, I don't know, it's just all out in the open now in a very cool way. I like its execution. This is an intriguing line too. We kind of remember this line from Edel as, you know, the people just spawn in. Like, they just exist, right? There's no rhyme or reason to them existing. It's like, oh, this is just where we begin. A story's birth is a sudden event. The start, a happy accident. What that also implies is that a story is being born out of these orifices. Out of the gates. It's like where the generation is coming from for Drosselmeyer. Like, they start fully formed as characters, you know, at a point in time without needing to physically exist like real life, because it's not real life, because it's a story, you know. Author here's fantastic too. I get the feeling that he's trying to like mansplain a little bit to Rue to impress her, because he likes her, obviously. He wants to like seem smart. So it's like, I have reason to believe that this town is being controlled by stories, and, you know, there's this weird kind of thing over our brains. No matter how strange something is, we're made to believe that that's how it was to begin with. We're under the spell of Drosselmeyer. You must believe me, Rue. It's like, she knows. She knows more than you'll ever know. And then I think we just get like a straight up shot where he just like looks at her legs. Which, I mean, fair enough, but like, it does strike me as a little bit odd. I don't know, he's still a little bit of a stinker. No one but me could solve this mystery. Proceeds to look at legs. Hate to admit it, maybe I'd be like him if I was in this story. Maybe. This results in Rube feeding him some sweet nothings. Just, you know, keep baiting him along, get him to follow, that kind of thing. You will change this world because you will be blood and flesh, a sacrifice. That's what you'll be. Yeah, right here is when that piece plays, the Great Gates of Kiev, or whatever the piece was called. Yeah, it's a very, very prominent motif. And it's like aha, it's like that kind of aha moment almost. Go back to the episode at this point if you really want to hear it. It's a cool piece of music. Tutu here comes to the realization that there are heart shards inside each of the gates. Each of the 5 gates of the town has a little bit of Muto inside it. So this is great. Okay. This was something I was thinking about in the shower just before. Why? Why are they inside the gates? What's the point in doing that? For me, it's some Drosselmeyer fuckery. I'm going to put him in the gates, so she'll never fucking find him. She'll never find all the pieces of Muto and restore his heart. Because again, the suffering is the point. The suffering and the continuation of the story is the point. Why would it make a game you could win? I'm going to play a little bit unfair. I'd rather see you in perpetual narrative turmoil than have any actual forward progress or momentum. I'd rather keep doing stories forever. I'd rather keep being God forever, says Drosselmeyer. So that's one interpretation. Or, here's another one maybe. Are we still on track? Is this still what Drosselmeyer wants? Did he hide them within the walls so we would discover the secret? So we would eventually go to that realm? So all that stuff would eventually happen for some greater purpose during the climax? Maybe. Maybe that's a step too far, I don't know, but it's an intriguing thing to think about. Like, why there? I know there's characters involved there, and, you know, something about somebody being on, you know, marionette strings and relating that to Muto's predicament, his emotional state. Yeah, I can see that for sure. I don't know, I'd love to see some other opinions on that one maybe too. Tutu uses her beanstalk powers, which of course I remembered that she had, to get to the top of the gate, to get to the top of the wall, and bound over, prance over like she does. But when she does, she finds just another wall. And not just any wall, an imaginary wall, a very video gamey wall that kind of as she goes through it, it turns her around and she goes back in the other direction. Now remember this shot too, because it'll become significant next episode. This is like the point of view from Drosselmeyer's grave, which is where, you know, the story ender people have taken Fakir. This is where we chopped off his hands in the past, that being Drosselmeyer. Let's chop off yours here too, and seal them. Now love this in the edit as well. Tutu just kind of makes that discovery about the wall and then kind of swings her head down and sees Fakir definitely in a bit of turmoil, in a pretty bad spot. We pair that with this kind of discordant, just kind of, you know, blur on the piano, just like a few random keys there. And again, it works great to contrast against, you know, the piece that's been playing, which is all very correct. That's very incorrect sounding, very dissonant, of course. Very, very cool. It's great. It's like this break of, you know, oh shit, Fakir, I forgot about Fakir, which also results in this great hero moment for Ahiru as she dives down from the top of the wall, descending from the heavens above and saving Fakir. Now this is some confirmation too. This is what people see Tutu as. It's this swan creature that is way larger in stature and more intimidating than, you know, Ahiru or Tutu is in real life. I tie this back to what PK and them saw during her episode, right? When she descended and saved Muto when he first started to go crazy. I don't know, it seems that if you're not in the know, this is what she looks like. I don't know, she's like God or something. It's crazy. But yeah, if we think she kind of looks like a Pokemon over here, Drosselmeyer throws her in a goddamn Pokeball, captures her, and keeps her in stasis until, you know, next episode. The justification here being that it's dangerous to show yourself before those repugnant people, Princess Tutu. Uzura comes along for the ride there too, which is great. I'm more like, okay, well, why does Drosselmeyer do this? Once again, the reason's twofold. One, Tutu, you're getting a little bit too close here to figuring it all out. Let me just bring you inside here and we'll have a chat. We'll talk through a few things. I'll see if I can't talk you down. You'd have to think that Drosselmeyer and Tutu are the two that have had the most rapport out of the main cast with Drosselmeyer and anybody else. So again, maybe I can talk some sense into her. But I think its main purpose is, okay, if we take the savior out of the equation, then they're going to chop Fakir's hands off and that'll be great for me. I won't have to fight him, you know, fight somebody with that same ability as me. It's fortuitous for him if Fakir's hands were to somehow also just go missing. Pairing that with Author's little thing here about how everybody's a marionette, you know, there's somebody even above you all the time pulling the strings, is a great touch. Now, Author here is fascinating, right? Because he's like, okay, well, if I have concrete proof that there is a storyteller out there that is just writing all this shit and this world's kind of a sham, I don't know, it's talking about destiny. It's a larger conversation about, like, can I fight against fate at all? Am I just on some predetermined track? Is even me thinking that I'm off the predetermined track also just, again, on the same predetermined track? How fatalistic do we want to get with it all, you know? I love that in the process of him questioning his feelings about Rue. But I feel like he steals himself and he's like, no, this is genuine. It appears I've fallen for you, Rue. I want to be with you. At least that's what he thinks in the moment here, put it that way. And then Rue's like, wait, with me? Are you sure? Enough to give your life? Yes, if it's for your sake. This shocks her. And then she's happy. And then she laughs. But she's not laughing for the reason you think. You think, oh, she's ensnared him, finally. She wins. It's like an evil laugh. No, it's indignant. There's no way that could be true. Right? Because of her whole thing. Her whole thing with fate, right? Like, there's no way. There's no way. That's my lot in life, and I've come to see that. You know? Does that make any sense to you? Like, nobody will ever love me but the Prince and the Raven. Here's a guy that says he loves me. You must be mistaken. I'm not lying. And then Yamete, stop, and then I can't not love you anymore. And then, like, fear on her face, and then we tell him to fuck off. We tell Order to go home, before he then confirms that the emotion isn't fake. And then we let him walk off. And I'm sorry, father, I'm a bad daughter. Whoa, this scene's crazy. Okay. Where do I even start? So very early on in the scene, it feels like Rue's just trying some shit. Oh, it seems like he's in love with me. I think. I'm definitely seeing the signs. He's all blushy and he's looking at me and stuff. I think that's what it feels like. Okay. Come with me. Let's see if we can't harvest his heart. Let's see if I can't fulfill my purpose for my father. As they descend lower and lower, obviously bringing him down to the dungeon where the raven is, all that other kind of stuff, he breaks through almost his programming and like truly believes that he's in love with her. This is the moment where Rue's fate breaks. It's the moment that she's been waiting for. It's the thing that happened with Fakir. It's the thing that's happened with Tutu. It's her moment right now. But she's going through that same, quandary that you are. Is any of this real? Is his love for me real? Or did the storyteller just decide that now he's in love with me because things need to move forward? So either interpretation here is interesting, right? Does he genuinely love her? Or was it just time for that part of the narrative to occur and the feelings just manifested? If it's genuine love, then Rue, is taken aback by it and doesn't want to, spoil it almost. She doesn't want to kill him if he loves her, despite everything. Very heroic, right? But if it's fake, if the love's a pre-planned thing, then she's denying this chance in the story to do the evil side, to do what she was meant to do from the very beginning, from what her and Muto have been trying to do for the past 10 episodes. Once again, there's so many interpretations. She right now is almost reinforcing her own fate as well. If she believes it's all fake, which she clearly does, his emotion's real and you're still denying it. You're still no, that couldn't possibly be true. You're almost mentally trapping yourself still within this same place that you've always been. And you need a circuit break to break you out of that and to get you to change your ways, which we get next episode with all the revelations there. Crazy scene. I don't even feel like I touched the surface of it as well. I love how it's just kind of child's play until it isn't, until she's serious. No, actually stop this. It's hurting me emotionally, then get out of my sight. Before, again, just vulnerability again. And another probably little bit of criticism. We get a little bit exposition dumpy here with the story ender guys, the story men. Because then he's Drosselmeyer, when he died, he had a device to control the stories. This is how the plot makes sense. I'm less concerned about that. I'm all themes, you know that. However, one thing went against Drosselmeyer's expectations, and that was Princess Tutu. Despite her not being expected to be in the story, she appeared and tried to protect you. And now Princess Tutu in turn has been taken captive by Drosselmeyer. The story may have already progressed to a point where there is nothing we can do. In that case, the only one who can fight is the one who carries the same blood. That would be you, Fakir. It's all this build up. You, our knight. The guy with the power. Go and save our hero. Go and save Tutu. Anyway, it seems that the presence of Tutu back then gave them some semblance of hope, I guess you would say. That, hey, things are on the right track. Drosselmeyer, this is outside of his expectations. We need her if things are going to change. So, hey, things have already progressed to this point. That's good. Hey, Fakir, go save her and maybe we'll be onto something where we can finally end this whole facade. It's this moment where the storymen basically realize that Fakir is quote-unquote worthy and we shouldn't chop his hands off. Great. I guess that's how we put a bow on that story. And they're basically giving him some, with great power comes great responsibility type speech here. Don't abuse the power now. We're going to let you have a go at this. I know that this whole writing stuff you haven't gotten any practice at and don't even know where to start, but have a go, I guess. And yeah, at the grave of Drosselmeyer, where all of these things began, Fakir is going to try to write himself a little story to save the day. And yeah, we'll get more into Drosselmeyer's antics tomorrow. It's gotten quite late and I'm ready for bed. I don't know, great shots here too. He's you who are within my control, you think that you're in control of your own story in this gear here? Well, what about mine? And all these other gears? Basically, hey, you're powerless to stop me. It would have been best if you'd been torn in two right away. See, that was his original purpose. That was the fate that he fought against. Huh? That's pretty cool. I don't know. We'll leave it there. Rightio, next day now, and on to episode 23. We have our intro here. Once upon a time, there was a princess who was held captive. She was imprisoned in the Demon King's castle, and with her freedom taken from her, she had no choice but to dance like a puppet, to the tune set by the whims of the Demon King. One day, a hero came to fight the Demon King, seeking to save the princess. However, there was no way the hero could win against the Demon King. The hero did not know, you see, that he himself was a puppet created by the Demon King. Upon the rewatch here, I'm realizing the genius of this opening kind of little story. The opening tale, I guess. So let's get the baseline one out of the way. References to Ruslan and Ludmila, which is our intertextual piece. Great. There was a princess taken by an evil wizard. Sure. That is being applied here, no doubt. So I'm for the very obvious route, first and foremost, which is what the show wants you to do. Let me go back here to our relevant piece of imagery. So what it wants you to do is think about Tutu. Tutu has literally just been captured and is being held captive by an evil wizard, a demon king of sorts, and needs a hero to come and save her, right? Sounds like a job for Fakir. That's what he does by the very end. However, by the very end there we also imply that this could also be part of the Demon King in question's plan, so this could still be part of Drosselmeyer's final play. It's hard to say at this juncture. But let's take a step back, and I'm sure, again, you guys already know it, but let's reconsider who the princess is here, considering the revelations at the end of the episode. Once upon a time, there was a princess being held captive by the Demon King, right? The princess would be Rue, held captive by the Raven. Like, let me just get our accompanying imagery up there ready to go. Like, see what I mean? It applies to this situation as well. Hence why we have the little, I don't know what you would even call it. There's a name for it. You use it, just going to call it a basket, but there's a name. There's a proper word there. And then the opening crawl goes on to talk about a hero that will go on and try to save the princess from whatever's going on. Obviously, from Rue's perspective, that would be Muto. That's her prince. There's all this stuff here with like a little Rue and thinking about Muto and all that, right? In the flashback. Saving her from the ravens that were chasing her down. And what's the final part of the opening crawl as well? Little did we know that hero, that prince that's coming to save the princess, was also just a marionette up on strings by the Demon King. This works for Muto. He is currently being controlled by the Raven. Or you'd think by the very end of things, considering the stuff we saw during the preview, that's taking full hold next week. Like he's just full on becoming a Raven boy. But yeah, that's very clever. That's a very, very, very clever intro. And again, you can't see this part of it until, you know, a little bit later on. I mean, even before the revelation, it kind of is still there, but the revelation does certainly help there. The revelation about Rue's past. This episode is called Marionette for pretty obvious reasons. Like, everybody here is being controlled and puppeteered by Drosselmeyer and or the Raven, depending on your perspective. This directly applies to also the 5 heart shards of the 5 gates. They're all puppets too. Tutu herself is being puppeted, so there's some fantastic animation from that perspective too. Just some character stuff to make it look like she's being pulled and pushed in directions where she doesn't want to go. I also love the idea of the marionette, of course, with the kind of Nutcracker connection, right? Because Drosselmeyer, that name from the Nutcracker, was a toy maker. So that kind of, you know, it just connects nicely there too. The major thing in the Nutcracker is the toys coming to life and what that brings along with it. That's definitely being applied here throughout the entire show. It's just very, very, very thematically solid. Just robust, isn't it? Either way, Tutu's missing. Fakir figures that Tutu must have been taken to wherever Drosselmeyer is. There's only one way to find out where he is right now and to access him, and that's to use that same power. It's time for Fakir to pick up that damn pen and give it a go. This one's really obvious, but I guess I'll just shout it out here. The idea of this background and this place, this setting, and it being so alien and different to the rest of the, I guess, background art techniques of the rest of the show. Like, this is very 3D and CG and has a lot of depth to it, and just stands as a point of difference both architecturally as well as artfully from the rest of the stuff in the show, right? It's meant to be alien, it's meant to be kind of strange and wonky and weird, it's meant to be this alternate dimension outside of what we have going on of course it's going to be a little bit different, you know? Once again, we're continuing on with this thing from last episode as well, which is like, okay, this is just like hard line confirmation of stuff. Every single time we've seen this gear world, Drosselmeyer is just chilling here. It isn't metaphorical, it's an actual physical, tangible place. Tutu's very nice to the audience here. She just reaffirms her goals, basically. That's to get all 5 of these heart shards, bring them back to Muto. Then his heart's complete. He can return to the story, and thus I will return to being just a duck. Once again, feels very theatery. It feels like she's monologuing to an audience. It feels like we're participating. It's a nice feeling. Another thing that's very theatery and very tangible is, of course, the puppeteering, the marionette strings. It feels like a theater performance that would have... what's the word? There's a word for it when you, like, lift people up on kind of harnesses and whatever. Feels a little bit like that. For the record, these guys are, like, mad annoying. They're clowns too. Yeah. Sure, they can stay in here for all I care. Just some wonderful touches in this show, man. Much like last episode, just a little twinkle on the end of the piano there, very high-strung keys, as Tutu realizes that she herself has been strung up as a marionette, right? Just perfect, consistent harmony between music, visual, emotion in the scene. Fantastic. Brilliant. More to the story now. I feel like the concept of Tutu being out of the story and hence it grinding to a halt is something that is fascinating and also connects a lot of dots, makes a lot of sense. We must remember back to when Tutu didn't want to be Tutu anymore. What did we see happening in Drosselmeyer's background? Things were grinding to a halt. The story was stopping. She is integral here, even if her presence wasn't originally planned. This episode kind of feels like Drosselmeyer calling a timeout. It's like, I don't like the direction this is going. You guys have a little bit too much freedom. You're fighting against your fate just a little bit too much. Let's see if I can talk some sense into Tutu. And once again here, just reaffirm how much control I have over everything. Hopefully I can get her to falter. The entire time when Fakir's trying to write stuff down as well, I'm just thinking about the SpongeBob episode where he's like, I think he needs to write like a paragraph or something, and he spends all the time in the world writing the... It's like a montage. It's a cute bit. I'm sure you know it. I don't know. As he has that writer's block, it was definitely what came to mind. It really does take it out of him as well. He tries to put pen to page and almost like loses consciousness almost. He's like short of breath and falling over and stuff. I don't know. It feels less like writing down and more like a magic system, which I guess is accurate. Like, okay, this is my first time going all out and actually trying to do this thing. Oh shit, it's taking a lot of force. It's taking a lot of energy from me, you know? Rightio, now over with Rue. Rue is meeting with the Raven Lord, the Raven King, the Raven, whatever you want to call him. And this is interesting and kind of, you know, in tandem with last episode and her decision. She had somebody that was in love with her, Ortha, in the palm of her hand. She could have brought him here right now and sacrificed him. She didn't. Now she's lying in her bed a little bit. Dad's like, where's my damn heart? I keep waiting for it. You can kind of see it all over her face. It's like this... I don't even know how to describe the emotion. It feels like she's numb a little bit, like she's just mindlessly doing her duty as opposed to thinking about what it's all for or why she's doing it. There's also desperation as well. You know, now that I have dyed the prince's heart in your blood, he is certain to be mine, right? Once again, feels like cope. It's something that she's been doing for large swaths of this second core. The Raven chooses to take offense, even if you're asking that question now, it must mean you don't trust me. And on top of that as well, you're being selfish. You're thinking only of your own desires and not of your father's. How dare you, my teenage daughter, think of yourself and not me? Like, what are we doing? And as always, this scene, extremely interesting in kind of context with the end of the episode now. The only power that the Raven has over Rue here really is that the idea of I'm your father and you're born this thing that you weren't meant to be, and you know, it gets into a lot of traditional family structure stuff, right? Father knows best, listen to your father, blah 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 blah, that kind of thing. As soon as that goes out the window, he almost has no more power over her, you know? It'll be interesting to see where we go and how Rue deals with this revelation. Because again, the premise for a lot of the Raven's arguments here is like, you as my daughter, me as your father. As long as that doesn't apply anymore, then, You know, feels like a lot of his power's gone too, no? Raven here also just calls her pathetic again. You can't even get the prince's love in the story. What use are you? Your only use to me will be as this sacrifice. Give me your heart instead so that I am restored. So things have gone bad for Rue. It's a good thing that the story kind of pauses and stops and stuff and allows her some time to get out of there and focus on some different things. Good stuff, Tutu, sure. Once again, just reiterating my love for Azura and her nonchalant attitude. Very, what a childlike wonder there, not understanding the gravity of these situations she's in quite often. Just adorable and funny and stuff. Plays a great role here as well, of course, of turning the story back on, cranking that crank, I guess. And, yeah. Once again, it's just out of her own, like, inherent playfulness, too. It's no, like, rhyme or reason to it. Just wonderful. Love Tutu here as well. Like, she's kind of sad that she's a puppet. It's like, well, it seems I've been turned into a puppet. And then she's like, oh shit, I'm talking to Azura. No offense, puppets are okay. I don't mind puppets. Again, the Edel connection, if you were unaware. I do like to think of Azura's actions here as some kind of big fuck you to Drosselmeyer from Edel, who, of course, was very controlling over her and was doing the whole Marionette thing too. Like, unconsciously she's doing it now, but kind of somewhere deep down maybe she is doing it consciously, just as like I don't like you Drosselmeyer type stuff. I'd like to think so. I don't know about all this French, but this is some of the really good, like, animation stuff I was talking about. Like, Drosselmeyer, like, controlling Tutu and making her dance to his every whim here. Feels like some of the stuff we saw in, like, episode 13, that climax of Core 1, that was very strong from the animation perspective. Very, very nice. Good looking show, man. I don't shout it out enough. Again, crazy that this came out, like, quarter of a century ago. Like, looks better than most things these days, I would argue. In the dialogue department, we're doing some pretty obvious stuff with Tutu. Again, I feel like I'm a marionette right now. I feel like I'm a puppet. I'm just being made to dance for somebody else's entertainment. There's no expression there. There's no individuality there. I'm just doing it because I'm doing it. And she thinks that that's very sad. Again, it's a metaphor, chat room. You extend it out to the rest of the show. It's a little bit sad that my own kind of desires, feelings, thoughts don't matter in the grand scheme of things, and I'm just on somebody else's predetermined track. It sucks that I'm not dancing to the, you know, tune of my own drum or whatever you say. I'm dancing to the tune of somebody else's. I think it's beat of the drum there, maybe. Anyway. Yeah, I get it, show. She wants to be free. She wants to break from her fate. This is where Drosselmeyer is saying some bullshit too. Marionette's at their most free when they're being manipulated by the strings. What are you talking about? And yeah, you won't leave this place unless you acknowledge that Tutu. Like, I'm holding you captive basically until you agree to behave. And yeah, as I mentioned before, we have Azura just falling to the bottom of the map, the zone, and finding like the crank world. So then she just starts going. It starts turning the story, man. Crucially as well, at a certain point, she'll start turning it backwards. That'll start some weird shit happening too. Good stuff. Oh yeah, this was random as hell. He just says caca. I feel like that's hilarious, everybody. He's got a kind of a stupid face while he's doing it too. That shit made me crack up. Anyway, this is where Claire returns from the Raven and Muta's on some other type timing. It's basically where everything comes crashing down for Claire. It's like, hey, these things that we agreed to, you know, us being together, getting married, loving each other, that's all bullshit. And again, as that prince, as Muto moves over to that Raven side, all that kind of a criticism from the Raven there before is now coming through him as well. You, who despite being a crow, have been born into an ugly human body. It's funny, it seems that we're going to have that reverse metamorphosis going on with Muto next episode as he literally turns into a raven. So it's all basically coming crashing down. That's what we're trying to say. I do want to pause maybe for a little bit. Yeah, I'll do it now. The idea of like, just I've stolen you away and convinced you that you've been born into this second-class thing as opposed to being like me, the Raven, is like next level emotional abuse type stuff. Like they're looking at humanity and being a human as almost a defect, as opposed to you know, being like us, being the Raven boys, you know? I don't know, it feels really, like, icky. I just... Fuck the Raven, we hate that guy. He should burn in hell. And yeah, that's probably contributing to this Rue self-esteem thing that's been going on for however long. Like, can't have helped. Rue even now is like, shit, this isn't what I bargained for. And now I can't even take his heart out again. I can't even do that side of it and reset things. I did everything I was told, and I've been scammed. What gives? And then Muto says some edgelord shit, almost like he knows that she's about to stab him, which, like, disarms her. Okay, I guess the idea there would be, okay, if you resort to thinking that me, Muto, is the villain here and killing me, it'll just be, you know, you'll just be as bad as me anyway. So he's like, do it, kill me, and then, you know, kiss my heart and whatever else. If you make the decision to kill me, I'll be still creating this villain, right? I'll still be creating this, like, antagonistic force in you. Which, again, is the thing that gives her pause and gets her to throw away the knife. She doesn't want to be that either. If I kill him, I'll be even going further down that Raven's side and be more like my father. I don't want to do that. Back over with Fakir. Author shows up. He tries to talk some shit, be annoying. We hate that guy. As Fakir is a little bit more preoccupied in trying to write something down. Oh, okay, yeah, I finally have a little bit more context here. He's finally let all the ravens in his room, that being Muto, and then we kind of see, I'm guessing that this is like a wing sprouting out of his back. That's why he's kind of moving like that. Sure, we'll pay that out. Again, we saw the thing. He's going to become like a raven boy. Over on the Princess Tutu side of things, we have Drosselmeyer sitting down for a cordial meal where he's going to explain some things. A couple of things I like here. This is the gap in time, of course, where the story has stopped and we can just have a conversation, hence the hourglass there. Also loving the soundtrack. I believe it's just from the Nutcracker that's playing at the moment. Just really buoys the scene. Gives it, again, I shouted this out in the reaction too, like this Alice in Wonderland Mad Hatter-esque quality. Like something of a cordial afternoon tea between, you know, somebody that's been drawn into another world and a crazy person. Sure, it's not too much of a stretch, I don't think. This is where some of the animation's really, really awesome too. Seeing the weird angle she holds her arm at as she is being made to sip the tea right now and enjoy the meal. Also great in the dialogue there, we have a pause as she brings the cup up to her mouth and is forced to drink. Just good stuff. So Tutu's very open here. She says that, you know, I found the rest of the heart shards. They're in the 5 gates. He's like, that's awesome. That's great find, Tutu. And then she's like, yeah, and I'm going to give them to Muto. And he's like, no, that would be boring. We don't want that. You're a story character. You can do better than that. And what is it that makes a story character? What makes a story character to me, in my initial read of this, because this does feel like big picture end of show stuff, is suffering. And I've talked about this already. It's this really, really meta look at like how stories are propelled. They're propelled through suffering. There needs to be conflict for things to, you know, for there to be a resolution in the end, for there to be drama, and to make something that's compelling, right? It feels like Drosselmeyer is just overstepping the bounds of being a storyteller and telling a story that's way too long. He's keeping these guys in perpetual suffering. There's no climax at the end. There's nothing to rise up out of. There's no resolution. There's no epilogue. There's no nothing. And to me, my theory is that he just likes being God. He likes playing God, so he's going to keep this thing going for as long as possible. Suffering, this is the way it has to be. Confess your love and vanish as a speck of light, or never confess your love and lose your prince. That is your suffering, Tutu. That is the thing that you're mulling over. This is another really, really interesting kind of, I don't know, it's very revealing here. Like, Drosselmeyer is surprised that Tutu isn't concerned about her own problem and is more concerned about the prince's. Like, hey, no, why are you helping him with his suffering? Why are you helping him to return all the heart shards and return to the story? Why are you so selflessly invested in Muto's plight, in his suffering? Surely you should be a little bit more selfish than that. That's where we underestimated Tutu. She doesn't operate like a normal person. she's going to be a little bit more selfless about this stuff, as is her character. You're different now than the duck you once were who only wished for the prince. You should be in love with the prince and want to marry him. You shouldn't want to save him. You should want to possess him. That's how my story was meant to play out. That was my control mechanism over you. And once again, it's so, like, shameless from Drosselmeyer. He's like, okay, well, now that that's all sorted, what about you forget about these last 5 heart shards and go back to being a good little story character who's going to, you know, pine after the prince and, you know, suffer in your own way about this conundrum in front of you about confessing or not confessing. Because here's the other thing. You will eventually have to part from the prince if you follow through with what you're doing right now and return all the heart shards to him. Because he's going to go away, he's going to return to his story and leave you in the lurch. You're not going to be able to see Muto again. And again, you like the prince, remember? Is that going to be okay? Are you okay with that, Tutu? Being selfless? Of course she is. What are you talking about, Drosselmeyer? You freak? This is where the power starts to shift a little bit, thanks to our good friend Uzura, who starts to restart the story with her own little, I guess you'd say it's like a fail-safe crank or something. Like, why is the story going? Tutu's in here, yet the gears are moving? This wasn't planned. But for once, Drosselmeyer actually seems to be intrigued. It's like, oh, well, they're actually doubling back the gears. So let's see how this enhances the suffering, everybody. It's nice to see that Drosselmeyer can still be surprised and maybe even hold some value in that. I don't know, he's just delighted when Uzura starts to fuck things up. He's still kind of likable. I kind of fuck with Drosselmeyer, even if he is being a bit stinky. So if we're doubling back, who's our focus character for now? That would be Princess Crea. Again, she's distraught, she's heartbroken, she's been fooled, she's been swindled. Love the composition here too. Like, almost like the ravens are like leaving her almost. But now that I'm looking at it, they're actually flying in the opposite direction. So like, look at them flying forward but backwards as the story is doubling back on itself. So it's great. It's dual purposed. It's showing, you know, the physical, tangible thing that's going on, as well as being a great metaphor of this ravenness almost leaving her, you know? I just want to go back in time before I remembered everything, back when I was Rue, and look at that, the wish is granted. And yeah, we do a little bit of, you know, Ghosts of Christmas Past a little bit. She's going to go back and see what she was doing way back in the day, where we see some things never change. The Raven, even back then, using and abusing their power over, you know, Rue. Like, hey, here's the threat of taking your heart, now conform. Same thing happened, like, earlier in the episode. Like, I'm gonna take your heart, now conform, you know? And who's the one that saves Kid Rue here? We have Muto. We have the hero, the one that is destined to fight the Ravens. This also serves as the, you know, justification, the root cause of the feelings that you have for the prince. They've been a long time coming. They're based on something pretty freaking epic. Love this sword design, now remember, as well, too. And yeah, like, it can kind of... It's why I fell in love with the prince, based on him being the antithesis of my Raven patriarch father, right? Now, like, I'm going to get to marry him. That's going to be great. My fate is to be wed with him, but he's going to be just like my father? Like, that's downright, like some monkey's paw type shit, you know? Did I say this episode's fucking really well directed? Like, even all the different, like, fades there. Then the sword here, splitting the two Rues. One Crea, one Rue. Right down the middle, we have the reflection of Muto's eyes before it splits the two once again. Just fantastic. Very, very well bordered. And Crea looking back on him, right? Like, nowadays Crea, with just, like, sorrow. Like, oh, that's the guy I fell in love with. The guy that no longer exists after I dyed his heart or whatever I did. Even give him a little smooch on the lips here as we're trying to get him some water or something. I don't know about that part. That part's a little bit odd. And this part too, I think it's cool. I think it is. It is a little bit cheesy how she very, very quickly comes up with the name of Rue. Now again, it's cool. You take the full step back. What does the name Rue now represent? The name Rue means, like, everything that is the antithesis of my role as the Raven's daughter. everything in me that he detests, everything in me that's human. Right? It just reinforces a lot of that stuff that was already present. The part which I think's a little bit on the nose is the whole, I'm Ru. My name is Ru. It's like, okay, we could have done better than that. But it's also peak. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. But it is significant. Again, like seeing the prince and him sacrificing these things for me and saving me from, being Princess Crea has made me want to, ditch the name, has made me want to move more over to his side and change my entire identity. Like, the prince's original heroicism is the inspiration behind Ru and this human part of her. It just syncs up very well. It also makes for a great clip show, just this general idea of the story doubling back. We get to see a bunch of stuff again, and quick flash reminders of important moments in the story, as we're coming back through, It helps that the show is so visually distinct as well. I can, almost name each and every one of these moments and the episodes they're in and stuff. It allows our main characters to reflect back on how they've come to this spot in the story, how they've grown. No, I don't want to return back to the person that I used to be. Let me use my powers. I don't want to go back to being this blind knight that was trying to take away Muto's freedom. I want to be the exact opposite of that now. I don't want to go back to this person that was in conflict with Tutu. I don't want to be that anymore. So I must write. I must fight fire with fire, Maybe that's why Drosselmeyer was so into it as well. It's basically just returning the characters back before they became all problematic. It's turning them back to their base forms, the way I wrote them. And yeah, it kind of coalesces in this montage and this collaboration between both Tutu and Fakir here, as she assists him in his power and gives him the kind of extra oomph to actually write something down and to change things. And there's that line there as well, I will not be a marionette, I will not be a puppet, I won't be under somebody else's control. That would imply that earlier in the narrative we were. That's the thing that was happening, and if we don't want the narrative to return to the way it was, we're fighting against that. We're not going to be resigned to our fates, we're going to fight against them, and we're going to fight against them together. Very, very great moment. Love it how it's edited as well, love the build, love the music. Once again, fantastic. Am I reading into, Fakir saying she changed me and, Ahiru giving me the final push to activate my power and be this new person and give me this new lease on life, and I'm not supposed to read that as romantic? Are you serious? I don't know. That's all I'm saying. Him actively choosing to write a story about her? That being the point of inspiration for Fakir. Then we have Force Ghost Idol visiting Uzura. As the lever won't go back any further, the story has decided it won't, go any further back, and reveals to Uzura that I am you and that you are me. If Idol was a puppet that could not have a heart, she implies that Uzura is somebody that potentially could. I think there's more to play out there, that's all I'll say, but it's a very, very effective scene. Once again invoking one of my favorite tropes, which is I'm crying and I don't understand why. I just put that in anything and it's automatically a 10 out of 10. And with Idol's blessing, Uzura is going to go back to Ahiru and return to the real world. Or, well, the real world, you know what I mean. You may have noticed that, chat room, there are a few funny looking faces here and there in this episode. It isn't perfect. But I choose to enjoy them regardless. In this time, we have Fakir just trying to channel the feelings and thoughts of Ahiru here. Again, I want freedom, I want to free Muto, all that other kind of stuff. That's the power which I'm drawing from to write this down. At that time, the knight who had cast away his sword called her name. I love that it's Ahiru as well, it's not Tutu. It's I want Ahiru back from the darkness. And yeah, against Drosselmeyer's plans, she escapes. She escapes the stasis, the place out of time, and returns from Drosselmeyer's grave, right? So you see how it's all coming together now? Returns from that portal and returns to, the real world where she can impact things. And it's just peak. I don't know what to tell you, everybody. It's just a 10 out of fucking 10. It's look at the pages floating around too. How are they going to top this for the finale? How? It's so fucking awesome. It's so epic. Unironically epic is Princess Tutu. And yeah, Drosselmeyer's pissed. She left here without my permission. So Drosselmeyer hates that. But he is interested that over here, with Kreia, the story is still doubling back for a huge revelation that I've kind of already been talking about a lot. So, Rue isn't actually the child of the Raven. She isn't actually the Raven Princess. She was taken as a child from a loving family and kept as a prisoner, essentially, and raised to be a villain. What an evil, evil bird. Something about having this near the gravestone, too, is kind of cool. Like, using this thing that symbolizes death as, like, the thing that's hiding her from her parents. Maybe they think that she's died. Love, love, love the hair here as well, as she's making this revelation, right? So again, when she has her hair all uptight like that, right? Princess Kreia, as it drops down, she realizes that she had a genuine mother and father, a human mother and father. Look at the hair go full Rue mode. Right back to that kind of other side of herself from the kind of beginning of the piece. I'm just a normal human. I'm not a crow. There's no need for all this uptight stuff. There's no need for all this costuming. I'm just a girl, you know? Yes, indeed. What a wretched fate, says our bird boy. And yeah, the story's gonna start moving forward again. Rue has been haunted by Bird Boy. Oh yeah, and then Uzuru's in a tower. I don't know what to make of Uzuru in a tower. Is this her punishment for making the story double back in the place out of time? Is this where Drosselmeyer put her? Maybe. Do we need to go save Uzuru? I don't know, man. There's a lot on for next week. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. You little puppet girl or whatever. I don't know what I'm saying. End the video. We'll leave it there. I'm very sweaty again. Fucking awesome. This show's good as shit. I don't know, man. I just spent like 2 hours and a bit talking about it. I like it a lot. It's good. Keen for next week. After today, I don't know how feasible 3 episodes is, though. Maybe let me know about stopping points. I am cognizant that not next Monday, but the Monday after is a public holiday in Australia. So, could do 1 next week, 2 the following, and just really hit it out of the park. We'll see. We'll see. Thank you for watching. Patreon if you want to be that 1 week ahead. Like the video, subscribe. I'm out of here. Thank you for watching. Ciao. Goodbye.